Alright, hey, we're going to sit and travel down memory lane again, here discussing Savior Sect's Story in Your Eyes, Demo 95. Gonna run through the individual songs. I'm gonna bring back some memories of those particular tracks, talk a little bit about what they were about, and what went on at the particular time that we were working on them. Alright, now, the demo starts out with Among the Flowers. Alright, now, Among the Flowers, title itself comes from a Japanese folk tale, or quote fairy tale, back in the mid-90s, particularly through the 95 year in particular. I was very influenced by fairy tales and fairy lore and folk tales, and I went about during that year collecting lots of books and reading material on that subject. Heavily influenced mainly by UK type tales, and but also some traditional stuff. Went out and bought all the colored fairy books filled with like traditional fairy stories. Went out and purchased a series of worldwide folk tales and fairy tales derived from different countries, and yeah, kind of set my mind in that mode. Well, one day running through the Japanese fairy tale book, one of them was entitled Among the Flowers. Now, while the actual tale itself has since slipped from my mind through the years from 1995, the actual song title has not, because it became the first track on Savior Sect's 95 demo, Story in Your Eyes. However, even though Among the Flowers was the first track presented, it was actually the last one to be recorded for the demo. I have vague memories of the recording of the song, though this particular track not really standing out in my mind as to where my thought processes were. Again, I remember as a final track, I remember liking it. The bass groove of the song was something that really carried the track through. Also happened to be one of those songs where the bass was recorded in error and appeared across the board on all the tracks. Somehow the bass got recorded on all the tracks on a recording error on my behalf, and got bounced down or something to all the tracks, and I remember having a lot of difficulty mixing it because the bass was on every track, and it couldn't really be mixed out or lowered, or it just had to ultimately be a track with a very predominant bass sound, because there wasn't much I could do to get it out. Which was okay for this particular track, because again, very bass-driven track, very kind of groovy, I guess you could say, for a Savior Sect track. I remember with this one, I began to try to emulate Dexter's ability to create a guitar and bass separation sound. So, as mentioned in the when I was actually in the footage about the actual demo itself, I mentioned that I would do a lot of kind of improvise overlays on this album because my guitar playing wasn't quite up to par. However, with Among the Flowers, it kind of had this repeating single note verse part and went into just a traditional kind of power chord chorus, if I can remember correctly. This one being perhaps one of the more traditional songs on the record. This one here being one of those that suffers from some wrong notes being hit, but somehow adding some kind of strange texture to the song, even though the guitar parts are in error at some point. Yeah, I think Among the Flowers, because it had these qualities of kind of a very catchy, almost pop-driven melody, but not quite losing track of underlying dark gothic thing going on. Had some keyboards underneath, not necessarily really dark keyboards, but kind of, again, kind of an upbeat sound to it in a way, but the lyrics themselves and Anastasia's voice lending the traditional Savior Sect kind of dark quality to the song. Lyrically, Among the Flowers, I don't think I based any of the lyrics off of the fairy tale itself. I think it was just more or less me kind of stealing the title and more or less running with my own ideas, kind of going off on my own tangent with the lyrics. Kind of, again, an early manifestation of the kind of romance or underlying love song that would characterize much of Savior Sect. They were kind of like almost like love songs in disguise. I think a lot of this had to do with my emotions at the time and my feelings being for Anastasia. I would kind of, my mind of just the fact of writing songs for her to sing really put my mind into a kind of romantic mode because of my inner feelings for her, which I did at the time was kept very, very suppressed, very inside of myself, and this is Among the Flowers is one of those kind of like broken romance songs or longing type songs where somehow the character in the song is losing the girl or unable to attain the girl, and I kind of played off of these themes throughout the 90s or the time I spent with Anastasia, because there was a lot of emotional turmoil within myself about my own feelings for her at that time. So lots of these songs were disguised emotional outbursts of my own feelings, though maybe not completely autobiographical in nature, but just manifestations of kind of mixing fantasy scenarios with the inner turmoil that I was feeling at the time. So yeah, Among the Flowers made a good opening track only because of its catchy nature and kind of yet somehow still fitting in with the whole theme of the rest of the album and kind of set the stage for what was to come on the record.